This is Sam Sparks here, on location in the Bolivarian rainforest.
Today I have with me Sir Edward the Venerable, the author of Our Modern Crisis. This book is the first comprehensive attempt to explain what factors led to the collapse of nearly every nation in Europe. Most of our viewers live through these events, but don't fully understand their underlying causes. So here to give us a brief overview, Sir Edward the Venerable, joining us via satellite. So, well, why don't you just start at the beginning? Where would you say the crisis can really said to begin?
Well, that's a difficult question, but if I had to pinpoint one area, I would say it began in Greece. Now, as many of you are not aware, Greece had a bailout from Germany as part of a quote-unquote European Union. So, Greece received this bailout primarily from Germany, and the bailout failed. Greece was unable to make any changes with the necessary money, and naturally Germany then had some major difficulties as they had accumulated a large amount of debt due to the failed bailout. So from there, the European Union broke apart as no more nations were left to go in and bail out Germany, since they saw what happened to Germany when they tried to bail out Greece. Inevitably, there were high tariff rates, and the economic crisis worsened as interdependence came to a complete stop.
So would you say that this is the worst economic crisis of all time?
I would say so, yes. This has completely redrawn the map of Europe.
Well, that's certainly a lot for our viewers to think about. Why don't we bring it back here to England?
Well, England was, as many people may remember, once united. There wasn't the Scottish Liberation Front, Old England. There wasn't the Protestant coalition. It was all one nation. In fact, it was all in a way Old England. Now, as the economic crisis worsened, there was massive starvation and a widespread religious revival and radicalization in many ways. This was the creation of the Protestant coalition, who seceded from England in 1916 and started a crusade against the Catholic Ireland.
1916?
2016.
Okay. So what else was happening around the world at this time? Maybe in the United States or?
Well, the United States was at this time a great economic power, and Europe and the US were very closely linked despite the far geographic distances between them. I know now virtually no one can travel between the two, but in those days people could travel frequently between the two in their lifetime. Wow. It was a completely different world. But the US elected Sarah Palin to the office of presidency and Glenn Beck to the office of vice presidency.
What year was this?
This was in 2012. And these two saw Europe as primarily socialist, and they even viewed the European crisis as punishment and what would naturally happen for socialism. And naturally, if they had this view, they wouldn't be willing to help, so they retreated into a policy of isolationism.
Breaking news here at BBC. We have just received preliminary reports that United Ireland has launched nuclear missiles at several locations in the Protestant coalition, including the top government buildings. Nearly all elders of Luther are presumed dead, leaving the nation without a central leader and in widespread chaos. If the scope of this attack is consistent with the initial reports, this action could have widespread political repercussions, not only on the religious wars, but also for the future of nuclear weaponry. This attack is the first recent attack since the signing of the Nuclear Non-Aggression Pact of 2025, which forbade all nations from amassing nuclear warheads. Although no further nuclear weapons have been used in a retaliatory attack, it is likely that the Women's Confederation will launch an attack on United Ireland due to the two nations' bellicose history. Google has maintained its neutrality and has offered free internet access to those left vulnerable by the attack. We will continue to provide up-to-the-minute reporting on this story as it develops. For the BBC Evening News, this is Sam Sparks.